About the thumb. The reason for the thumb being the way it was is because this is sort of starting with a response to the Pink Full Moon, A Rare Night of Witchcraft by E A Koetting YouTube video. So I'll start with my comment there. Walpurgisnacht and May Day are Christian holidays, meant to compete with Beltane, which actually started on a cross-quarter night before the Christian sources directed people who wanted to be witches or even occultists. 7:13 a.m. Mountain Daylight Time on May 5th, the bright quarter starts in the Northern Hemisphere. Midsummer's Night, Arlitha is closest to 3:07 a.m. Pacific Daylight Time on June 21st. Lunasa starts the sunset closest to the start of the cooling quarter at 5:27 Alaska Daylight Time on August 7th, 2018. The fall equinox is 3:54 p.m. Hawaii Daylight Time on September 22nd in 2018, and the nearest sunset starts Mabon. The dark quarter starts 5:18 a.m. Central Standard Time on November 7th in 2018, and the nearest sunset starts Samhain, Samhain. The sunset nearest to the winter solstice of 5:23 p.m. Eastern Standard Time on December 21st starts Yule in 2018. The nearest sunset to the start of the warming quarter of 11:01 p.m. Atlantic Standard Time on February 3rd starts Imbolc in 2019. The sunset nearest to the vernal equinox of March 20th, 7:28 p.m. Newfoundland Daylight Time starts Ostara in 2019. Newfoundland or Newfoundland, NDT. Anything else may build a psychopomp, but they are not. But they are a continuation of the Christian enmity to nature. Barbatos is the spirit of the pseudo witch's night, but I don't see any of the Goetia and even other calendar-based grimoires as confined to their set days. Beltane is a season of love and a season of cleaning. My drama will probably center on Fate and the Order of Nine Angles Dark Gods, or as they call them, Dark Gods, being cleared from positions of authority. Because I'm not giving these things authority in my life, and that's what the whole thing is about. But Hexennacht, Walpurgisnacht, Sankt Valpurgisnacht, Saint Walburga's Eve today, St. John's Eve, May Day, that sort of thing. I don't believe in any spiritual or temporal authority for these things. So that's why I don't do them. You're free to do these things, but I'm just pointing out the fact that exists in archaeoastronomy, and archaeoastronomy.com is where I got my times for the cross-quarter points. So consult that rather than some New Agey sort of thing. People give baskets of flowers for this. They say that animals shouldn't work. Some people say that people shouldn't work in the fields. Some people jump over fires making noise. Some people jump off bridges. Some people get up on May 1st and wash their faces with the dew as something specific to do there. Some see it as a victory over life, over death, and, you know, young women singing over a young man, and they throw a wreath on him. And, you know, the whole thing is to replace Beltane. And Bel, or Belinus, or Belinus, or Belmaun, is a Celtic sun deity. And if you remember from my 9th, like the Goetia bit, Bel, or Bel, is one of the ones that's said to go with Paimon. So, obviously, that's a very correct timing for a goetic entity. Most of the ones, who knows, but a sun god celebrated on the 5th of May or the 6th of May that night, going with the demon quadrant that kind of goes with that. That's, you know, makes sense. There are a lot of things that people do, but Walburga, or Walpurgis, was said to be a missionary to the French. And people thought that, you know, from her grave was coming holy oil. Sometimes priests do things like this, and they still are caught doing things like this, so modern miracles are few and far to come by, as far as, you know, people would make grain dolls. Nowadays, I guess people would use corn, but back in the day, people wouldn't use corn. They had other grains. So when you see the mention of a corn doll, that's not what they're talking about. People would burn effigies of their enemies, or just witches in general. The whole thing was people would worship Walpurgis to, you know, if they had hydrophobia, if they were afraid of storms, if they wanted healing, if they were afraid of evil magic being cast upon them, if they were afraid of their ships overturning. So some miracles have been attributed that probably would have happened anyways in that respect. But it takes the part of the Green Mother, folklore, cakes, dancing, brightness, bonfire sort of holiday. Some people to this day wear white caps on that day. And Beltane, which I'll do a drama further explaining Beltane, which incorporates more of what's been passed on in the Christian tradition, and it's actually a relatively worldwide holiday in that respect. So that is what I have to say about Walpurgisnacht. But any time can be used for its symbolism, but that doesn't mean you have to observe the holidays that the Church has put upon us, or entirely considering one's sacred year as something fixed and entirely just, you know, these are the cycles of nature. But it's important to return to nature, and that's why I made this video, and that's why I made my video talking about Christian holidays, is because referring to the cycles of nature rather than something a little bit off is going to be more powerful psychologically and spiritually if one uses that sort of thing.